Hey there, and welcome to Her Unraveled Life, where we tackle real life struggles and practical solutions to help you live out your God given calling. I'm Amy Wadlington, your Christian life coach, and I am so glad you're here. Let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? You start something new, like a workout plan, a new Bible study, or a healthier routine, and you're so pumped. You're like, this is it. This is the one thing that is going to change everything. And then life happens. And a week or two in, or maybe even just a couple of days, you're back to square one. Been there? Same. Staying consistent can feel impossible sometimes, but it does not have to be that way. Today, we are diving into why we quit, why consistency is such a game changer, and how just one keystone habit can transform your entire life. I am not here to give you a 10-step program or tell you to overhaul your entire life. We're keeping it simple. By the end of this episode, you'll have actionable steps to create real, lasting change. And if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, I've got a free resource that can help. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Go from Stuck to Empowered, and it's packed with practical steps to help you break free from the things that are holding you back. And it even has a habit tracker to help you stay consistent. I will include a link in the show notes so that you can download your copy. Okay, so grab your coffee or some tea and a paper and a pen, and let's dive in. Welcome to Her Unraveled Life, the podcast for kingdom women ready to break free from feeling stuck, overcome self-doubt, and step boldly into their God-given calling without the overwhelm. I'm Amy Wadlington, a Christian life coach and spiritual mentor, here to help you transform your mindset and find clarity. If you're ready to finally experience the breakthrough you've been longing for, you're in the right place. Let's jump in. So let's start with talking about why consistency feels so hard. It's like when you're trying to clean your house, every time you finish one room, another one's already a mess again. It feels like you're putting in all of this effort and never getting ahead. It's exhausting and frustrating, but consistency does not have to feel this hard. When you keep it simple, have a solid plan, and hold on to a clear vision of what you really want your future to look like, consistency becomes less about frustration and more about purpose. Let me give you a personal example. I used to really struggle with being consistent, and sometimes I still do, especially when negative thinking or disbelief in myself, or even a lack and trust in God creeps in. So, what's different now compared to the past me? I have faith, I have drive, and I know what I want. I know the future that God has promised me. So, no matter how hard it gets, nothing is going to stop me from taking the next step forward. Of course, there are really hard days and sometimes even really hard weeks. When I'm staying consistent, it feels like a battle. But I remind myself that I'm growing, I'm learning, and I'm a work in progress. Nothing good in life comes easy. I've learned how to simplify things, which helps a lot, but it doesn't make the work itself easy. It's still work. If you think about a farmer, it's the perfect example. If he wants crops, he has to show up every single day, watering, tilling, planting, pulling weeds. It's not glamorous and it's not easy, but a little bit of work every single day produces a harvest in the end. The key is that you have to have a vision. That farmer, he knows he's going to have a harvest. You need a why that is so big and so worth fighting for that it keeps you moving forward. My why is my daughters. I want to leave a legacy for them that shows them what's possible when you dream with God. When He gives you a vision, He is faithful to answer your prayers when you are faithful to put in the work consistently. So, yes, consistency is work, but it's also the bridge between where you are now and the life that you know God is calling you to. So, it's worth every single step. So, why do we quit? Here are three of the big reasons that I see most of my clients quit when they give up. Number one is overwhelm. Maybe you've set a goal like, I'm going to pray every single day for an hour, or I'm going to lose 20 pounds this month. Those goals sound great, but they're huge, and that can feel really paralyzing. Number two is lost motivation. You're super excited in the beginning, but when you don't see results right away, that excitement fades fast. And then number three is self doubt. Thoughts like, this is too hard. I can't do this, or I always mess things up, sneak in and sabotage you before you even get started. Here's what I want you to hear. You are not lazy. You are not unmotivated. Most of the time, we quit because we're trying to do too much too fast without a clear plan. But what if you didn't have to do it all? What if one small step was enough, or creating one keystone habit? So, what is a keystone habit? Let's dig into that. The word keystone comes from architecture. In an arc, the keystone is the stone at the very top, right in the very center. It's what holds both sides of the arc together. Without it, the arc would collapse. Keystone habits work the same. They're not just simple habits that you want to start doing, they're foundational. They have the power to hold up the life that you envision for yourself and that God has given you the vision for. So let me paint a picture. If you're anything like me and most of the women that I work with, you want to wake up feeling calm and in control instead of overwhelmed before the day even starts. You want to have the energy to keep up with your family, your dreams, and the responsibilities on your plate. And you want to feel connected to God and confident in your calling. Here's the truth. You can have that life, but it starts with adding one keystone habit at a time that can support that life that you desire. By the way, if you're looking for a place to connect with other women who are walking this same journey, I would love to invite you to my free Facebook community called Breakthrough to Your Calling. It's a supportive space where we talk about things like consistency, clarity, and stepping into your God-given purpose. I'll link it in the show notes, so be sure to check it out after this episode. Now, a couple of examples of keystone habits might be if you want to feel more confident in God, your keystone habit might be starting your day with 15 minutes of prayer or Bible reading. I personally do best with my Bible reading at night, so I have 20 minutes before bedtime set aside to where I dig into the Bible. If you want more energy, it could be drinking lemon water first thing in the morning or moving your body for 10 minutes 3 times a day. And if you want to feel less overwhelmed, maybe it's spending 5 to 10 minutes every evening decluttering or planning out your next day. I just want you to pick one, and it doesn't even have to be one of these three. I'll give you a couple more examples as we go. The key is to start with just one habit that can ripple into other areas of your life. So let me tell you something all successful people, whether they're athletes, entrepreneurs, or spiritual leaders, have in common. They are consistent. They show up even when it's hard because they know that small daily actions lead to big results over time. Think about planting a seed. You don't see a tree overnight. It takes time and care. But here's the amazing part. Before you ever see a single sprout above the ground, the roots are growing deep into the soil. They're doing the hard, unseen work of building a foundation. No one sees the roots, not even you, but they're there. And the stronger and deeper that those roots grow, the sturdier the tree becomes. An oak tree's roots are solid and strong, anchoring it in place so that no storm or wind can knock it over. That's what consistency is in your life. It's the unseen work, the quiet effort that you put in every single day that no one claps for, that even you might not fully realize is happening. But those roots, They're preparing you to grow into something unshakable, something strong and fruitful. When you commit to consistency, you're growing those roots. You're building a foundation so solid that when challenges come, and we all know that they will, you'll stand firm because your roots are deep. That's the power of doing the work, even when it feels like no one's watching and nothing is happening, because eventually that seed becomes a mighty oak and you become unshakable. After thinking about the roots of a tree and how they grow strong in the unseen places, I can't help but think of Isaiah 61, 1 through 3. It's one of my favorite passages because it reminds us of God's redemptive work in our lives. It says, "The Spirit of the sovereign Lord is in me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from the darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn, to provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of the spirit of despair. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor." What I love most about this passage is the image of each of us being called oaks of righteousness. As we discussed, oak trees don't just happen overnight. They start as tiny seeds, just a little acorn, and their growth is slow and steady. But over time, their roots grow deep and strong, anchoring them so that no storm or wind can take them down. That's the kind of life that God calls us to, a life deeply rooted in Him, unshakable, and full of purpose. God doesn't just see our struggles or the ashes of what's been lost, He turns those into beauty. He strengthens us in the unseen, binding up our broken hearts, giving us joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of despair. And as He does this, we become a reflection of Him. When you're doing the unseen, consistent work every single day, think about this. God is growing your roots. He's building you into an oak of righteousness, firmly planted and strong, a testimony of his faithfulness and glory. Consistency isn't just about self-discipline. It's about aligning your life with God's work in you and trusting that he's building something that will stand the test of time. You're his planting, and he is faithful to grow you into all that he has called you to be. Okay, here is where we're going to keep it really simple. I am not asking you to change your entire life. I want you to pick just one keystone habit. It's okay to have goals, but instead of committing to a rigid plan, keep it flexible. Example one would be, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. every day. That's it. You don't decide what you're going to do during that time. Some mornings you might read your Bible. Other days you might feel like going for a walk, or you might just want to sip your coffee in peace. It's okay to be flexible. Just have that one habit of getting up at 5 a.m. every day. And you may not be a morning person, so your habit might be going to bed at 10 p.m. every night. That's okay too. And then example number two would be commit to 30 minutes of movement every day, but let it be whatever you feel like. You could feel like walking one day or dancing another, stretching, whatever makes you feel good that day. And it can be broken up into 3 10-minute increments or done all at once. The goal is just to create a habit of moving for 30 minutes every single day. And then example number three would be journal daily, but keep it simple. Some days you might write down 3 things that you're grateful for. Other days it might be a prayer or just random thoughts. You don't have to write out an entire page or be really strict with what you're writing and how much you're writing, just that you're writing every single day in that journal. Now, before we wrap it up, I want to talk about habit stacking. Habit stacking is one of the easiest ways to make a new habit stick. Here's how it works. You attach your new habit to something that you're already doing every single day. If your keystone habit is wanting to take supplements, put them next to your toothbrush or your coffee pot. That way, when you do something that you already do every day, like brushing your teeth or making your coffee, you'll naturally remember your new habit. If your habit is walking for 10 minutes 3 times a day, keep your walking shoes by the door or even on top of something that you use daily, like your laptop, or put them in the kitchen and stack your movement with your meals. If you don't already follow her, I highly recommend looking into Glucose Goddess. Her research shows that moving for 10 minutes after you eat keeps your blood sugar from spiking. So this is the type of ripple effect that we're after. Steady glucose levels gives you less fatigue, more energy, fewer cravings, and eventually can help you lose weight. So just having a habit of moving 10 minutes 3 times a day after your meals can create a ripple effect of health. If your habit is packing a healthy lunch every day to take to work, put your car keys in your lunchbox so that you literally can't leave the house without it. The beauty of habit stacking is that it makes your new habit automatic. Instead of relying on willpower to remember, you're creating a natural trigger for it. So here's my challenge to you. Commit to this one habit for 100 days. I know that it sounds like a lot, but think about it. In just over 3 months, you could have a completely transformed life. If you wake up early every day, you'll create space for peace, intention, or even progress toward your goals. If you move your body daily, you'll feel stronger, more confident, and more energized. If you journal every day, you'll have clarity, reduced stress, and maybe even some breakthroughs. So, friend, this is your time. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up. Pick one habit, commit to it, and let God handle the rest. Don't forget to grab your free download, The Ultimate Guide to Go From Stuck to Empowered. It has a habit tracker in the back. And if you're looking for community, join us in my free Facebook community, Breakthrough to Your Calling. Both links are in the show notes. I'd love to hear how you're applying what you've learned today. Thank you for spending time with me today. Remember, stay consistent and just keep taking it one step at a time. You've got this. Until next time. That's it for today, friends. Before you go, I just want to say, if this podcast has blessed you, the best way to thank me is to leave a written review over on Apple Podcasts or give it a 5-star rating wherever you're listening. And don't forget to hit follow so you never miss an episode. The other thing you can do is share it with a friend. Not only does this bless me, but you're helping spread this message to someone else who might need to hear it. And hey, before we wrap up, let me remind you of something really important. You have come so far. Look at how much you've grown. There hasn't been one challenge you haven't overcome. You are strong, capable, and so gifted. God has an incredible purpose and plan for your life. Remember, you are a daughter of the one true King. You are His masterpiece, and your story has the power to inspire others. Be proud of the woman you are and the one you are becoming. And don't forget, you didn't go through everything you've gone through for nothing. These tests will become your testimony. Your mess will become your message. You were born for such a time as this. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Until next time, friend.